Free players receive Abu Dhabi Open wildcards. The Abu Dhabi Open will mark the start of the 2026 Middle East swing. Main draw action is set for a Sunday start, less than 24 hours following the conclusion of the Australian Open Women's Final. World number 5 Elena Rybakina heads the field, but it is looking increasingly likely she will withdraw from the event after her strong run in Melbourne. Should that happen, Belinda Bencic would take over as the top seed. The Swiss is the tournament's defending champion and saw her undefeated start to the season end at the Australian Open. The 26-player singles field will include 4 wild cards, and the tournament organizers opted for international representation in its selection. 3 wild cards have been confirmed and 1 more will be named before action begins on Sunday. Free players receive Abu Dhabi Open wildcards. World number 5 Elena Rybakina heads the field, but it is looking increasingly likely she will withdraw from the event after her strong run in Melbourne. Should that happen, Belinda Bencic would take over as the top seed. The Swiss is the tournament's defending champion and saw her undefeated start to the season end at the Australian Open. The 26-player singles field will include 4 wild cards, and the tournament organizers opted for international representation in its selection. 3 wild cards have been confirmed and 1 more will be named before action begins on Sunday. Free players receive Abu Dhabi Open wildcards. Zeynep Sonmez has been confirmed as the 3rd wildcard. Sonmez made history in the past week when she became the first Turkish woman to reach the 3rd round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. At 23, she is already a WTA champion and is entrenched in the top 100. All 3 players will certainly draw huge followings at the tournament. There's a moment in every athlete's journey where possibility becomes promise, where dreams once whispered in late-night practices rise to meet the glare of the global spotlight. In the world of professional tennis, few symbols capture that transition better than the granting of a wild card, an invitation that opens the door to the main draw of a major tournament, regardless of ranking or qualification battles. For 3 remarkable players, that moment has arrived at the 2026 Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, the WTA 500 event that kicks off the Middle East swing of the season from February 1st to February 7th in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. This year, the wildcard story is not just about entries. It's about emergence, identity, and opportunity on a world stage. 1. Alexandra Ila, the rising star from the Philippines. At just 20 years old, Alexandra Alex Ila has already captured the attention of tennis fans across continents. With a dazzling blend of power, poise, and strategic finesse, she has steadily climbed the WTA rankings to reach a career high inside the top 50. For Ila, the wild card into Abu Dhabi represents more than just another tournament entry. It's a symbol of progression. She first appeared in the Abu Dhabi main draw 2 years ago, only to fall in the opening round. Since then, she's transformed her game and her presence on tour. With deep runs and impressive victories under her belt, including wins over top players and a shining performance on hard courts, this wild card acknowledges both her talent and her trajectory. There's something poetic about Ila's invitation. It speaks to the hunger of a young athlete refusing to be defined by prior exits or rankings. Instead, she has forged her own path, compelling the tennis world and tournament organizers to recognize her potential. The crowd buzz she brings isn't just rooted in nationality or novelty. It's grounded in real promise and competitive credibility. This year in Abu Dhabi, every time Ila steps onto the court, she carries with her not just points or stats, but the aspirations of a new generation, fans in the Philippines and beyond who see in her the future of the sport. 2. Janice Chen, the Indonesian breakout star. From the tropical islands of Indonesia comes another story of relentless rise. Janice Chen, just 23, whose journey to this wild card encapsulates grit, growth, and an unyielding spirit. Chen's narrative over the past year is the kind that makes commentators reach for phrases like meteoric ascent and seismic breakthrough. Once unranked, she captured 8 titles in a single season, including her first at the tour level. Day by day, match by match, she climbed the rankings and the international consciousness. In a sport where momentum is currency, Chen spent the last year compounding her successes, turning local promise into global performance. Her wild card into Abu Dhabi isn't merely a courtesy. It's recognition of achievement, of a player who has earned a place through heart-wrenching rallies and confident finishes. She has carried the hopes of Southeast Asian tennis fans into arenas across the world, and now, she brings them to the Emirati desert, where she'll test her mettle against elite competitors on a stage that blends sunsplashed courts with sky-high ambition. The wild card signals more than participation. It's an invitation to expand her narrative, to prove that her rise was no fluke and that she belongs among the sport's most exciting peers. 3. Zeynep Sönmez, Turkey's hope and history maker. Every now and then, a player breaks through not just competitively but historically, rewriting what's possible for themselves and those who follow. This year, that player is Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey. Sönmez's entry into Abu Dhabi via wildcard is wrapped in both achievement and national pride. Fresh off a historic run at the Australian Open, where she became the first Turkish woman in the Open era to reach the third round of a Grand Slam, she carries a momentum that's as emotional as it is athletic. At 23, she's already a WTA champion and a fixture in the top 100, a milestone few expected so early in her career. But Sönmez's story isn't about exceeding expectations. It's about reshaping them for an entire generation of Turkish athletes. Her wild card isn't simply a stroke of luck. It's an affirmation of where she's been and a spotlight on where she's going. Imagine the scene. Sönmez steps onto the Abu Dhabi court, eyes burning with focus, the weight of fans in Turkey behind her, and the world watching, not just to see a match, but to witness a narrative that blends athletic skill with cultural significance.